Section 3 of the Glories of Mary by Saint Alphonsus Liguori. This recording is in the public domain. Part 1, Chapter 1. Salve Regina, Mater Misericordiae. Hail Queen, Mother of Mercy. Section 3. How great is the love of our Mother for us. If, then, Mary is our Mother, let us consider how much she loves us. The love of parents for their children is a necessary love, and for this reason, as St. Thomas observes, children are commanded in the divine law to love their parents, but there is no command, on the other hand, given to parents to love their children, for love towards one's own offspring is a love so deeply planted in the heart by nature herself, that even the wild beasts, as St. Ambrose says, never fail to love their young. It is said that even tigers, hearing the cry of their whelps when they are taken by the hunters, will plunge into the sea to swim after the vessels where they are confined. If then, says our most loving Mother Mary, even tigers cannot forget their young, how can I forget to love you, my children? And she adds, if it should happen that a mother could forget her child, it is not possible that I can forget a soul which is my child. Mary is our Mother, not according to the flesh, but by love. I am the mother of fair love. Hence she becomes our Mother only on account of the love she bears us, and she glories, says a certain author, in being the mother of love, because having taken us for her children, she is all love towards us. Who can describe the love of Mary for us miserable creatures? Arnold of Carnotensis says that, at the death of Jesus Christ, she ardently desired to die with her Son for our sake, so that, as St. Ambrose adds, when her Son hung dying on the cross, Mary offered herself to his murderers, that she might give her life for us. But let us consider the reason of this love, for thus we shall better understand how this good Mother loves us. The first reason of the great love that Mary bears to men is the great love she bears to God. Love to God and man is contained in the same precept, as St. John has written. This commandment we have from God, that he who loveth God, love also his brother. So that one increases as the other increases. Hence what have the saints not done for love of the neighbor, because they have loved God so much? They have gone so far as to expose and lose liberty and even life for his salvation. Let us read what St. Francis Xavier did in India, where, for the sake of the souls of those barbarians, he climbed mountains, and exposed himself to innumerable dangers to find those wretched beings, in the caves where they dwelt like wild beasts, to lead them to God. St. Francis de Sales, to convert the heretics of the province of Chablais, risked his life by crossing a river every day for a year, on his hands and knees, upon a frozen beam, that he might go over to the other side to preach to those stubborn men. St. Paulinus became a slave, to obtain liberty for the son of a poor widow. St. Fidelis, to bring the heretics of a certain place back to God, willingly consented, in preaching to them, to lose his life. The saints then, because they love God so much, have done much for love of neighbor. But who has loved God more than Mary? She loved God more, in the first moment of her life, than all the saints and angels have loved him in the whole course of theirs, as we shall consider at length, when we speak of the virtues of Mary. She revealed herself to Sister Mary of the Crucifixion, that the fire of love with which she burned for God was so great, that it would in a moment inflame heaven and earth, and that, in comparison to it, all the flames of the burning love of the seraphim were as cool breezes. Therefore, as there is none among the blessed spirits who loves God more than Mary, so there is and can be none, except God, who loves us more than this most loving Mother. If the love of all mothers for their children, of all husbands for their wives, and of all saints and angels for their devoted servants, were united, it would not be so great as the love that Mary bears to one soul alone. Father Nierenberg says that the love which all mothers have borne to their children is a shadow when compared with the love which Mary bears to any one of us. Truly she alone loves us more, he adds, than all the saints and angels united. Moreover, our Mother loves us, because we have been commended to her as children by her beloved Jesus. when, before expiring, he said to her, "Woman, behold thy son," signifying by the person of John all men, as we have before remarked. These were the last words of her Son to her. The last remembrances left by beloved friends at the moment of their death are greatly valued, and the memory of them is never lost. Moreover, we are children extremely dear to Mary, because we cost her so much suffering. Those children are much dearer to a mother whose lives she has preserved. We are those children, for whom, that we may have the life of grace, Mary suffered the pain of sacrificing the dear life of her Jesus, submitting, for our sake, to see him die before her eyes in cruel torments. By this great offering of Mary we were then born to the life of divine grace. So then, we are children very dear to her, because we were redeemed at such a cost of suffering. Accordingly, as we read of the love which the Eternal Father has manifested for men by giving his own Son to death for us. God so loved the world as to give his only begotten Son. As St. Bonaventure remarks, it may be said of Mary also, that she so loved us as to give her only begotten Son. And when did she give him to us? She gave him to us, says Father Nierenberg, when first she consented to his death. She gave him to us, when others deserted him through hatred or fear, and she alone could have defended, before the judges, the life of her Son. We can easily believe that the words of so wise and tender a mother would have had a great power, at least with Pilate, to induce him to abstain from condemning to death a man whom he knew and declared innocent. But no, Mary would not utter even one word in favor of her Son to prevent his death, upon which our salvation depended. Finally, she gave him to us again at the foot of the cross, in those 3 hours when she was witnessing his death, because then, at every moment, she was offering up for us his life, with the deepest grief and the greatest love for us, at the cost of great trouble and suffering, and with such firmness, that if executioners had been wanting, as St. Anselm and St. Antonius tell us, she herself would have crucified him in obedience to the will of the Father, who had decreed he should die for our salvation. And if Abraham showed a similar fortitude in consenting to sacrifice his son with his own hands, we must believe that Mary would certainly have done the same, with more resolution, as she was holier and more obedient than Abraham. But to return to our subject. How grateful should we be to Mary for an act of so much love, for the sacrifice she made of the life of her Son, in the midst of so much anguish, to obtain salvation for us all! The Lord indeed rewarded Abraham for the sacrifice he was prepared to make of his son Isaac. But what can we render to Mary for the life of her Jesus, as she has given us a son more noble and beloved than the son of Abraham? This love of Mary, says St. Bonaventure, greatly obliges us to love her, seeing that she has loved us more than any other created being loves us, since she has given for us her only Son, whom she loved more than herself. And from this follows another reason why we are so much beloved by Mary, because she knows that we have been purchased by the death of Jesus Christ. If a mother should see a servant redeemed by a beloved son of hers, by 20 years of imprisonment and suffering, for this reason alone, how much would she esteem that servant? Mary well knows that her Son came upon earth solely to save us miserable sinners, as he himself declared, "I have come to save what was lost." And to save us, he has consented to lay down his life for us, becoming obedient unto death. If Mary, then, had little love for us, she would slightly value the blood of her Son, which was the price of our salvation. It was revealed to St. Elizabeth, a nun, that Mary, from the time she was in the temple, was always praying that God would quickly send his Son to save the world. Now how much more certainly must we believe that she loves us, after she has seen us so greatly prized by her Son, that he deigned to purchase us at such a cost? And because all men have been redeemed by Jesus, Mary loves and favors all. She was seen by St. John clothed with the sun. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. She is said to be clothed with the sun, because as there is no one that can hide himself from his heat, so there is no one living on the earth who is deprived of the love of Mary. From the heat of the sun, as it is explained by the venerable Raymond Jordan, who through humility called himself the idiot, that is, from the love of Mary. And who, says St. Anthony, can comprehend the care which this loving mother has of us all? Therefore, to all she offers and dispenses her mercy. For our mother has desired the salvation of all, and has cooperated with her Son in the salvation of all. It is certain that she is concerned for the whole human race, as St. Bernard affirms. Hence the practice of some devout servants of Mary is very useful, who, as Cornelius a Lapide relates, have the habit of praying our Lord to grant them those graces which the Blessed Virgin is seeking for them, using these words: O Lord, give me what the most holy Virgin Mary is asking for me. And this is well, as a Lapide adds, for our mother desires greater things for us than we think of asking for ourselves. The devout Bernardine de Bustis says, that Mary is more desirous to do us good and bestow favors upon us than we are to receive them. Therefore blessed Albertus Magnus applies to Mary the words of wisdom: She preventeth them that covet her, so that she first showeth herself unto them. So great is the love, says Richard of St. Lawrence, which this good mother bears us, that when she perceives our necessities, she comes to relieve them. She hastens before she is invoked. If Mary then is good to all, even to the ungrateful and negligent, who have but little love for her, and seldom have recourse to her, how much more loving must she not be to those who love her and invoke her? She is easily seen by them that love her. Oh, how easy it is, exclaims the same blessed Albertus, for those who love Mary to find her, and find her full of love and pity. I love them that love me, she assures us, and declares that she cannot but love those who love her. And although our most loving Lady loves all men as her children, yet, says St. Bernard, she recognizes and loves especially those who most tenderly love her. Those happy lovers of Mary, as the idiot asserts, are not only loved, but served by her. Leonard the Dominican, as we read in the chronicles of his order, who was accustomed to recommend himself 200 times a day to this mother of mercy, when he was on his deathbed, saw one beautiful as a queen by his side, who said to him: Leonard, do you wish to die and come to my son and me? Who are you? Answered the religious. I am the mother of mercy, replied the Virgin. You have many times invoked me, and now I come to take you. Let us go to paradise. On that same day Leonard died, and we hope that he followed her to the kingdom of the blessed. Ah, most sweet Mary, blessed is he who loves you. The venerable Brother John Berkmans of the Society of Jesus used to say: If I love Mary, I am sure of perseverance, and I shall obtain from God whatsoever I wish. And this devout youth was never satisfied with renewing his intention, and often repeated to himself: I will love Mary, I will love Mary. Oh, how much this our good mother exceeds all her children in affection, even if they love her to the extent of their power. Mary is always more loving than her lovers, says St. Ignatius Martyr. Let us love her as much as St. Stanislas Kostka, who loved this his dear mother so tenderly, that when he spoke of her, everyone who heard him desired to love her also. He invented new titles by which he honored her name. He never commenced any action without first turning to her image and asking her blessing. When he recited her office, her rosary, and other prayers, he repeated them with such affectionate earnestness that he seemed speaking face to face with Mary. When he heard the Salve Regina sung, his soul and even his countenance was all on fire. When asked one day by a father of the Society, as they were going together to visit an altar of the Blessed Virgin, how much he loved her: "Father," he answered, "what can I say more than she is my mother?" And the father tells us how the holy youth spoke these words with such tender emotion of voice, countenance, and heart, that he appeared not a man, but an angel discoursing the love of Mary. Let us love her as much as blessed Herman, who called her his beloved spouse, whilst he was also honored by Mary with the same name. as much as Saint Philip Neri, who felt wholly consoled in merely thinking of Mary, and on this account named her his delight; as much as Saint Bonaventure, who not only called her his lady and mother, but, to show the tender affection he bore her, went so far as to call her his heart and his soul. Hail, Lady, my mother! Yea, my heart, my soul. Let us love her as much as her great lover Saint Bernard, who loved his sweet mother so much that he called her the ravisher of hearts; whence the saint, in order to express to her the ardent love he bore her, said to her: "Hast thou not stolen my heart?" Let us name her our beloved mistress, as Saint Bernardine of Siena named her, who went every day to visit her before her sacred image, in order to declare his love in the tender colloquies he held for his queen. When he was asked where he went every day, he answered that he went to find his beloved. Let them love her as much as Saint Louis of Gonzaga, who burned continually with so great a love of Mary, that as soon as he heard the sound of the sweet name of his dear mother, his heart kindled, and a flame perceptible to all lighted up his countenance. Let us love her like Saint Francis Solano, who, distracted by a holy passion for Mary, sometimes went with a musical instrument to sing of love before her altar, saying that, like earthly lovers, he was serenading his beloved queen. Let us love her as so many of her servants have loved her, who had no way left of manifesting their love to her. Father Jerome of Trexo, of the Society of Jesus, delighted in calling himself the slave of Mary, and as a mark of his servitude went often to visit her in a church. And what did he do there? He watered the church with the tears of that tender love which he felt for Mary, then he wiped them with his lips, kissing that pavement 1,000 times, remembering that it was the house of his beloved mistress. Father Diego Martinez, of the same society, who, on account of his devotion to Our Lady, on the feasts of Mary, was carried by angels to heaven, that he might see how much devotion they were celebrated there, said: "Would that I had all the hearts of the angels and the saints to love Mary as they love her! Would that I had the lives of all men to devote them all to the love of Mary!" Let others love her as Charles, the son of St. Bridget, loved her, who said that he knew of nothing in the world which gave him so much consolation as the thought of how much Mary was beloved by God, and he added, that he would accept every suffering rather than that Mary should lose, if it were possible for her to lose it, the least portion of her greatness, and if the greatness of Mary were his, he would renounce it in her behalf, because she was more worthy of it. Let us desire to sacrifice our life in testimony of our love to Mary, as Alfonso Rodriguez desired to do. Let us, like Francesco Bianzio, a religious, and Radagunda, wife of King Clotaire, engraved with sharp instruments of iron upon their breast the sweet name of Mary. Let us, with red hot iron, impress upon our flesh the beloved name, that it may be more distinct and more enduring, as did her beloved servants Battista Archino and Agostino d'Espinosa, both of the Company of Jesus. If, then, the lovers of Mary imitate, as much as possible, those lovers who endeavor to make their affection known to the person beloved, they can never love her so much as she loves them. I know, O Lady, says St. Peter Damian, how loving thou art, and that thou lovest us with unconquerable love. The venerable Alfonso Rodriguez, of the Society of Jesus, was once standing before an image of Mary, and there, burning with love for the most holy Virgin, broke forth into these words: "My most amiable mother, I know that thou lovest me, but thou dost not love me so much as I love thee." Then Mary, as if wounded in her love, spoke to him from that image and said: "What dost thou say? What dost thou say, O Alfonso? Oh, how much greater is the love I bear thee than the love thou bearest me! Know that the distance from heaven to earth is not so great as from my love to thine." With how much reason, then, did St. Bonaventure exclaim: "Blessed are those whose lot it is to be faithful servants and lovers of this most loving mother." For this most grateful queen is never surpassed in love by her devoted servants. Mary, in this respect, imitating our loving Redeemer Jesus Christ, makes by her favors a twofold return to him who loves her. I will exclaim then, with the enamored Saint Anselm: May my heart languish, may my soul melt with your never failing love. May my heart always burn and my soul be consumed with love for you, O Jesus, my beloved Saviour, O my dear Mother Mary. Grant then, O Jesus and Mary, since without your grace I cannot love you, grant to my soul, not through my merits, but through yours, that I may love you as you deserve. O God, the lover of men, thou hast died for thy enemies, and canst thou deny to him who asks it the grace of loving thee and thy mother? Example. It is narrated by Father Auriemma that a poor shepherdess loved Mary so much that all her delight was to go to a little chapel of Our Lady on a mountain, and there in solitude, while her sheep were feeding, to converse with her beloved mother and pay her devotion to her. When she saw the figure of Mary in relief was unadorned, she began, by the poor labor of her hands, to make a drapery for it. Having gathered one day some flowers in the field, she wove them into a garland, and then ascending the altar of the little chapel, placed it on the head of the figure, saying: "O my mother, I would that I could place on thy head a crown of gold and gems, but as I am poor, receive from me this poor crown of flowers, and accept it as a token of the love I bear thee." Thus this devout maiden always endeavored to serve and honor her beloved Lady. But let us see how our good mother, on the other hand, rewarded the visits and the affection of her child. She fell ill and was near her end. It happened that two religious passing that way, weary with traveling, stopped to rest under a tree. One fell asleep and the other watched, but both had the same vision. They saw a company of beautiful virgins. Among them there was one who, in loveliness and majesty, surpassed the rest. One of the brothers addressed her and said: "Lady, who art thou, and where art thou going?" "I am the Mother of God," she replied, "and I am going to the neighboring village, with these holy virgins, to visit a dying shepherdess, who has many times visited me." She spoke thus, and disappeared. These two good servants of God proposed to each other to go and visit her also. They went towards the place where the dying maiden lived, and entered a small cottage, and there found her lying upon a little straw. They saluted her, and she said to them: "Brothers, ask of God that he may permit you to see the company that surrounds me." They were quickly on their knees, and saw Mary, with a crown in her hand, by the side of the dying girl, consoling her. Then those holy virgins began to sing, and with that sweet music the blessed soul was released from the body. Mary crowned her, and took her soul with her to paradise. Prayer. O Lady, ravisher of hearts, I would exclaim with St. Bonaventure, who, with the love and favor thou dost bestow upon thy servants, dost ravish their hearts: take my miserable heart also, which desires so earnestly to love thee. Thou, O my mother, with thy beauty hast enamored a God, and hast drawn him from heaven into thy bosom, and shall I live without loving thee? No! I will say to thee with thy loving child John Berchmans: I will never rest until I have attained a tender love for my mother Mary. No, I will not rest until I am certain of having obtained a love, a constant and tender love for thee, my mother, who hast loved me with so much tenderness even when I was ungrateful towards thee. And where should I now be if thou, O Mary, hadst not loved me, and obtained so many favors for me? If then thou hast loved me so much when I did not love thee, how much more may I confide in thy goodness, now that I love thee? I love thee, O my mother, and would wish for a heart capable of loving thee, for all those unhappy beings who do not love thee. Would that my tongue could praise thee with the power of 1,000 tongues, in order to make known thy greatness, thy holiness, thy mercy, and thy love, with which thou lovest those who love thee. If I had riches, I would employ them all for thy honor. If I had subjects, I would make them all thy lovers. For thee and for thy glory I would give my life, if it were required. I love thee, O my mother, but at the same time I fear that thou dost not love me, for I have heard that love makes lovers like those they love. If then I find myself so unlike to thee, it is a proof that I do not love thee. Thou so pure, I so unclean. Thou so humble, I so proud; Thou so holy, I so sinful. But this, O Mary, is to be thy work. Since thou lovest me, make me like unto thyself. Thou hast the power to change the heart. Take then mine and change it. Let the world see what thou canst do for those who love thee. Make me holy, make me worthy of thy Son. Thus I hope, thus may it be. End of Section 3.